Well, it gives us great pleasure to welcome the Managing Director of the IMF Chief, Christine Lagarde. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Always for me too.
Before I start talking about the world economy and what's happening, I have to say that there's been a lot of very emotional reaction in India to the comments that you made here at the WEF when you were inaugurating the entire World Economic Forum at Davos, when you spoke about the daughter of India, the victim of the gang rape. Her fate obviously has really moved and touched a lot of people in India. What made you refer to her?
My own emotion, the sense that she cannot be forgotten ever. And, I'm privileged to have a voice and to be listened to. I want her problem and the problem of so many other women around the world to be on the top of the agenda of those who make policy decisions. It's so important to make sure that women are protected, that they have a choice, that they are included in society and not excluded, and that they are respected. So I wanted to give that moment to her and to Malala from Pakistan.
So that's why you said, I pledge this moment to the two of them.
Yes, yes. I was given the privilege of 50 minutes address at the opening plenary session of the World Economic Forum, and I wanted to dedicate that moment to the two of them, the daughter of India and the daughter of Pakistan. Yeah.
And the issue of women's safety, women's rights, which in a sense these two cases illustrate, that is something that you think you can use your influence to try and really put onto the agenda here at Davos and elsewhere.
Not only I can, but I think that I should and I must and I will. It's for humanity, emotional, personal reasons, but it's also for economic reasons. Because if economies open up to women more than they do in most countries of the world, if equality, if respect, if inclusiveness are on the agenda, then economies will fare better. I mean, it's now a proven fact that when women do better, economies do better. What are we all looking at the moment? Improving the state of the world, improving growth, creating jobs, making sure that our planet is going to be sustainable with growth and with inclusion. So I think that pursuing the cause of women and making sure that they are included and respected and given the choice and be educated is a valuable cause, not just for women, but for humanity at large.
Right, and of course we've seen this big upsurge in emotion in India, but this is not really a problem restricted to India. If you look at the number of rapes and attacks on women that are taking place, even in the United States, in Europe, it's across the planet.
Violence against women is very well shared around the world, and it has to stop. Yeah.
Right, and let me just shift now focus to the state of the world economy. I remember talking to you about a year ago, and everything looked as if it was rather dark and gloomy. Now, have things improved significantly, or is it still too early to say that?
Things have improved. I wouldn't say significantly. Things have improved, and there is a little bit of recovery in the air. It shows in the numbers. Not as great as we would expect, but it's, global growth expected at 3.5 as opposed to 3.2 last year. Advanced economies lagging behind, emerging markets and low-income countries driving growth. That's the picture we have at the moment. What is more interesting is how 2013 is going to either make or break. There have been a lot of changes, a lot of good intentions, a lot of decisions as well made in the Eurozone, in the United States, in Japan to a certain extent, and that will deliver results or not, depending on whether governments, Congress, parliaments keep the momentum.
So both in Europe and also in America, where we've seen this grandstanding over the fiscal cliff, people aren't quite sure. Has a solution been found, or are both Europe and the United States essentially kicking the can down the road and hoping, tomorrow things will get better?
I think that the Europeans were accused last year of kicking the can down the road, and they've improved significantly by making some real policy decisions, whether it's the central bank or whether it's the European leaders as well, with the European Stability Mechanism, with the fiscal compact, with the gradual and laborious path towards more competitiveness and less deficit.
So they've done the hard work, you think, which will
They've done quite a bit of the hard work. It's not over yet. They still have to consolidate at the national level. They still have to keep building. But they've started the work. In the US, there's a little bit of, let's kick the can down the road another 2 months, another 3 months, and let's defer the hard decisions until later. But time will come, and the United States authorities, particularly Congress, will have to face the hard reality of identifying what the mid-term course will be to reduce debt, to reduce deficit, which they have done. Let's face it, the US deficit has been reduced over the last couple of years, but the medium-term picture is not yet drawn in terms of economics.
And how do you see the situation when you look at India? Now, again, some decisions have been taken. Yeah. There's a wave of reform over the last 3 or 4 months. Yeah. Now, of course, the question is whether it's going to continue or not. A lot of things that now need to be done have to go to Parliament. But how does India look to you right now? Significant
improvement compared with last February, if I may say.
And we have. Do you think there's a significant improvement?
Yeah, and we have adjusted our growth forecast for India from 5.4 to 6%. It's one of the rare countries where we have increased our forecast for growth. Generally, we have revised downwards, but for India, we've revised upward, which is clearly a sign that we expect better outcome as a result of the reforms that have been announced and decided, and that will be put to Parliament. I just hope that Parliament will, continue the process and will accelerate the pace.
Could I get you to elaborate on that? Which specific measures are you the most enthused about? Because upping growth means that those measures have to have a serious consequences for the economy. Which of the steps are you particularly happy about?
Well, any measures that improve transparency, that facilitates access for investment, particularly foreign direct investment, any measure that will remove barriers and protections, in the retail business, for instance. In the fuel subsidies area, there's been some real progress as well. So all of those are, good steps in the direction of improving the flexibility and the how would I put it, the ability to bounce of business in India, which is legendary, but is often prevented by, layers of authorization, bureaucracies, and so on and so forth.
So you up the growth number in India to 6, and then other things will need to be done before you move it up further. And India gets back to those 9-10% rates of growth that we were hoping for at one point.
Well, India has to grow at its potential, and there are clearly issues about bottlenecks, about infrastructures, about major work that needs to be undertaken. But there are signs now that the government is really definitively concerned about those issues and preparing to take some hard measures.
Okay, so India has less of a headache for you, which is good. Now,
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for Retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.